Good afternoon and welcome to Yorkshire Voice on this Friday, the 28th of March. I'm Johnny Holmes.
And I'm Ahmed Sadala. Here's what's coming up on today's programme. The problem of tackling knife crime in West Yorkshire.
Testing the heart health of footballers in York.
And the new shop aims to help those who struggle to pay grocery bills.
But first, the Prime Minister has been in Yorkshire today announcing the latest allocation of funding for the Transpennine route upgrade. Sir Keir Starmer says the North will no longer be held to ransom by a broken transport system.
It's an additional £415 million to beef up rail services between Manchester and Yorkshire, as well as pushing for progress on a tram system linking Leeds and Bradford. But today, commuters were sceptical of whether the money would make any difference.
Well, the trains aren't running, which is fairly frequent, then it's dreadful. I think getting from one suburb to another is really slow. It doesn't run late at night. The buses aren't great. The public transport there is quite expensive. So
I still think we need the trams. Like, I've looked at the maps. It's literally going from the city centre to the outskirts. Get a bus or just walk.
I don't think we need one, to be honest with you. It's just ploughing up more earth, isn't it? We've got trains already that go to Bradford and buses that go to Bradford. Why do we need another form of transport there?
In a statement, the managing director for the Transpennine route upgrade said the government's support for the rail line is a vote of confidence in the work being done. James Richardson said that by improving connectivity and increasing capacity, we are helping to drive up investment, supporting more housing and more jobs, and boosting productivity across the region.
Now, knife crime has become an escalating issue across West Yorkshire, with communities feeling the impact of this rising violence.
In response, the Home Office has allocated £4.3 million in funding to help tackle the problem, with new measures like knife amnesty bins being introduced across key areas in the region. Our reporter Shah Dytham spoke to figures at West Yorkshire Combined Authority to learn more.
Under the new Crime and Policing Bill, West Yorkshire Combined Authority is set to receive another £4.3 million in funding from the Home Office to combat serious violence, with a particular focus on knife crime. One key initiative to tackle this issue is the introduction of knife amnesty bins, where people can drop off weapons anonymously at locations across Yorkshire, including Leeds, Bradford and York.
Yes, lots of knives get given in. Whether that impacts on the level of serious violence, I don't know if that evaluation has taken place, because for those people engaged in serious and organised criminality, I suspect they're not taking their weapons to a knife amnesty. But what it does is it triggers the conversation. It starts us talking about why we need knife amnesties, why we need to get knives off the street.
Yesterday, the Home Office announced a ban on ninja swords, effective from the 1st of August 2025, alongside a surrender scheme to allow people to safely hand over these dangerous weapons.
Well, the more powers and legislation that policing get to help reduce knife crime, the better, so we welcome all of those. But at the end of the day, it's all implements, whether that be machetes, knives, screwdrivers or swords, that cause harm and hurt. And we need to get to the root cause problem to stop people carrying them and to stop people from using them, and to stop being seen as something we can condone in society. It's a terrible thing, it's a dangerous thing, and we need to all work together to prevent knife crime.
Recent figures from the Office for National Statistics highlight a concerning trend. Teenagers aged 13 to 19 are now more likely to be killed by a knife than victims of all other age groups combined.
When you recognise that young people are so frightened, so terrified that they're going out carrying knives, or that they feel that they've got to protect themselves because we adults are not protecting them. I don't know about you, that makes me feel as though I failed as an adult, I failed as a parent. We all need to step up. I do throw down that gauntlet to all the agencies, the adults, the parents, the carers, the teachers. We're not doing our jobs. We are failing. And that spurs me on to do more, to do better, to put that mirror up to all those people who have got a duty of care for our young people. I mean, we've just seen so many young people die in West Yorkshire. One life lost is one too many. They are our future. They're only our future if they're here.
More measures are expected to be unveiled in the coming months as the fight against knife crime continues. Shah Dytham for Yorkshire Voice.
And now for some news in brief. An investigation has been launched after police were called to Whitehall Road at the junction with Globe Road in Leeds in the early hours of this morning, where a man had been found dead. There are ongoing inquiries, but it is not believed to be suspicious.
And the Leeds peer says he's saddened by the announcement of the closure of a historic school in Leeds. Lord Kane has told the House of Lords Fullneck School in Pudsey has been a unique part of Leeds heritage since 1753 and touched on the issues that led to the closure. The school announced that it will close in July and over 300 students will need to move elsewhere.
A large number of small independent schools across the country that have been struggling to keep their heads above water. The imposition of VAT, of increases in employer national insurance are the policies that will sink many of those who have struggled.
Further worrying news for staff and students at the University of Bradford after it was announced that the university can no longer afford to run the on-campus nursery due to cost-cutting measures. Parents have started a petition calling for the university to reconsider its decision because of the impact it would have on their studies and careers.
Now, there's about to be a change in the way food is collected for businesses in Leeds, and now it may come to some as a surprise.
From Monday, commercial properties will be required to separate their food waste from general waste for storage collection. Charlie O'Brien has this report.
New legislation, which will require businesses in England to dispose of food waste in separate bins, will come into force at the end of this month. The rules were announced last September to little fanfare, and it has left some vendors feeling blindsided.
It does feel like it's come around quite quickly, with not too much that's been communicated to us to help us get prepared for it, so that's a little bit frustrating.
We will need another bin. A bin is a plastic, and we will need to buy more like bean bags. That's money, waste of money.
A spokesperson for the Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs said, "This government will end our throwaway society and stop the avalanche of rubbish that is filling up our high streets, countryside and oceans." The aim of the legislation is to ease the recycling process, a move that the businesses we spoke to were largely in favour of.
If it's trying to improve recycling, then I guess it's always a good thing. I don't think it'll be very difficult for a company like Wardrobe or Olivettes to do something like that. You know, it's pretty simple, isn't it? Put your food in one bin, everything else in the other bin. So yeah, I see it as a good thing.
Yeah, I can definitely get behind it. Anything that, you know, mitigates or reduces food waste or any sort of waste is, you know, that's kind of built into our business anyway. We reduce waste, we want to reduce our impact on the environment. So I can definitely get behind it.
Will the move be helpful or a load of rubbish? Only time will tell. Charlie O'Brien, Yorkshire Voice.
York City Football Club have started to monitor their players' heart health.
It comes after a member of the women's team collapsed during a match last September. Our reporter, Ben Monse, went out to the club to find out more.
Last September, a York City football game turned sour after a player for the women's team collapsed during a match against Middlesbrough.
My teammate Summer was on the pitch and she collapsed during the game, so obviously we were all really concerned for her.
After being taken to hospital, 18-year-old Summer Paley was diagnosed with an underlying heart condition. In response, fellow player Faye Singleton used her healthcare expertise to bring about an innovative screening process for the players.
I actually work for a medical device company as well as playing for York City Ladies, and we have access to the PCA 500, which is a brand new ECG machine. It's the first of its kind because it enables anybody without any medical training to produce a 12-lead ECG test, and you don't have to be in a hospital or a medical setting for that.
The technology, which is the first of its kind in the UK, has been brought across from America after Faye persuaded the local football league to purchase the device.
So it's a really small box, basically, that it's really compact, and it comes with some stickers. So obviously the stereotypical ECG has about 20 odd stickers, but it sticks onto the person, has 3 kind of electrodes, if you like, on them, and then it just connects to an app on your phone, and within 10 seconds you've got an ECG reading.
All the players and associates of the club that I spoke to said they were hopeful the use of the technology would catch on and promote more thorough health screenings for clubs in the future. Benjamin Monse, Yorkshire Voice.
A primary school in Harrogate has devised new road safety measures to keep children safe at drop-off and pick-up times.
Following an 18-month trial, North Yorkshire Council has decided to make the measures permanent. Esme Banerjee reports.
Oatlands Junior School has started a road safety scheme that is the first of its kind in North Yorkshire. The initiative restricts traffic at drop-off and pick-up times and uses a bike bus to optimise cycling safety.
Yeah, we just wanted our personnel kids to ride to school safely, and then we realised there's a few more people wanting to do that as well, but they didn't feel confident riding their bikes on the road. So we'd seen it in Barcelona, Hazel had seen it in Barcelona. So we're like, well, why don't we set up a bike bus? And then that was maybe about a year ago. And then, yeah, it's taken about a year to get it to what it is. Like really starting really small, just figuring out what we needed to do. It's all about safety and risk and understanding risk, working with the schools and getting those on board.
These restrictions in term time create a safer environment and encourage more children to walk, cycle or scoot to school.
Yeah, it was really good fun actually. It's the first time that I've done it with my girls, so I've got one at infants and one at junior. And yeah, basically they stop all the traffic for us to all cycle together, all the parents and the children and the teachers. And yeah, it's just an initiative to try and get people cycling to school, and yeah, it's really good fun.
Oatlands Junior School has paved the way for other schools in North Yorkshire to follow suit. Esme Banerjee for Yorkshire Voice.
A new social supermarket opened in Leeds today where heavily discounted groceries will be available to struggling families.
Our reporter Thea Robinson was at the community shop in Swarcliffe as it opened its doors for the first time.
Leeds residents were waiting baskets in hand to get into the community shop, which offered groceries at up to 70% off of retail price. The money earned in shops is then reinvested into the community kitchen and community hub.
We like to think of those three spaces as a new way of putting the person at the centre of the retail transaction and not just the money. The community kitchen looks and feels like a cafe. Breakfast and lunch are £1.50. But kids eat free every day of the year.
Company Shop repurposes underused public buildings like the Swarcliffe Community Centre, and this collaboration will only further existing initiatives the Leeds City Council has in place.
Swarcliffe Community Centre, so we've already got great services running out of there already, the youth service and Swarcliffe Good Neighbours as well. So it's a traditional partnership, but it's a model that's worked well in other places, and I'm absolutely convinced that it'll work well in Swarcliffe as well.
Company House prefers to offer a hand up and not a hand out to the community it serves.
So food, when it is a handout, has the unintended consequence of having to help people rebuild the confidence. Because in my life and in the lives of the communities that we serve, the consequence of that is that I don't feel great. But when I've just got a great bargain, surrounded in a nice space by people who believe in me and what I might do in the future, that makes me feel good.
Gary Stott finishing that story there. Thank you, Thea. We've got some sport for you now with Theo Darville in the studio.
Thank you, Johnny. So starting off with the rugby today, with Leeds Rhinos facing Warrington Wolves later on tonight. The away game marks the 5,000th fixture in the Super League, and as only point difference separates the two sides, a win for the Rhinos would help them rise up the table. Now on to the football. Leeds United face Swansea in their first game back after the international break this Saturday. The two teams have met previously this campaign, with Leeds coming out on top in a 7-goal thriller with the help of last-minute goal from Willie Gnonto. Leeds boss Daniel Farke spoke ahead of the game, stating, "Although the challenge is there and will be a great difficult game, we want to find some good solutions to create chances, to score goals and then hopefully to secure all 3 points." Both Sheffield teams are also in action this weekend, with United playing against Coventry at 8 p.m. tonight and Wednesday travel to Cardiff tomorrow. So it's looking like a packed weekend for sport in Yorkshire.
Thank you, Theo. And now for our special segment, The People of Yorkshire.
Today we feature a local singer-songwriter who started making music as part of her church. Priya Silk has now embarked on her own musical journey. Here's her story.
I was in a charismatic evangelical church, so there's a big, heavy musical centrepiece with the service. I found out through the church that there was an opportunity to play piano and to start being part of a worship. One day I sat down at the piano and I started playing chords that weren't to do with worship music, and that was really fun. I started life as Eleanor Joy, and I was really proud of putting my music under my real name. I think as I developed and as I grew and as I've had the chance to develop songs and narratives that are very different to what I was writing earlier on, I learnt that I didn't feel connected to my own name as an artist anymore. Pryor Silk really hit me. My grandaunt's married name is Pryor, and I was like, oh, it's a nice link. And I really like the term silk. Silk means the Queen's counsel. There's definitely a particular struggle with being a woman in music, and that's not new news to anybody, but I think it looks different than people expect. I mean, in my situation, I was part of a group of local women that were being stalked, and there's a lot of fear that you're going to be the next one of being a victim of this violence, where your male counterparts might not have that. I'm currently working on a debut EP release. I have a bunch of songs that I've been working on for years. I've got about 200 in the backlog, which is insane and unhealthy.
And now we can cross over to Courtney Brady live for an update on the weather.
Thank you, Ahmed. So yes, as you can see behind me, we've got a mixture of sun and cloud, but we are looking at a bright yet cooler feel compared to earlier this week. Throughout the evening, a mixture of bright spells and showers will cross over the Pennines, with the eastern areas staying mostly dry. A noticeable breeze with strong gusts and a heavier rain than we've been seeing is to be expected, with the maximum temperature reaching around 11 degrees. Tonight we have a clear sky with a potential touch of frost. Looking ahead to Saturday, we'll start with sunshine, but we're predicting a cloudier afternoon with strong winds and a light rain arriving from the west. These winds will begin to pick up as we head into the evening. A dry night, however, with a maximum of 11 degrees Celsius. As we look at the week ahead, it's mostly sunny and warmer temperatures. Don't forget that clocks will be going forward this weekend, bringing in longer days and warmer nights. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Courtney, and that's all we have time for today. Thank you for joining us over this past fortnight.
And you can continue to keep up to date with the latest by following us on our Yorkshire Voice socials and all on our website. Now, from all of us here in the studio and in the newsroom, thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Goodbye.